So I just activated my BitPay Visa debit card, and this just is a level of convenience for me, that I can now spend Bitcoin easily. The reason I got that card is just a level of convenience, really, because well, currently I don't keep any money in my bank account, my Bank of America account. I use it as a means of depositing money, and then I transfer that money straight into cryptocurrency.
Personally, yes, absolutely yes. This is a long-term play for me. A 3-digit Bitcoin is gonna look like just a little hill compared to the massive numbers we're gonna see in Bitcoin later on. So you need a heavy hand, you need strong hands, you need to be confident, and to get into that zone, that comfortability, you need to be educated. So not every investment is right for everyone, but I do think Bitcoin is right for pretty much everyone. So do the education. Personally, I think now is an incredible buying opportunity for Bitcoin. And the beauty of Bitcoin is that you can buy any amount you want. Any amount you want. Bitcoin is divisible up to 8 decimal points. You do not have to buy a full Bitcoin. Start with whatever you want, watch it move, and then continue from there.
Gold has always been valuable because it's desirable and limited in quantity. There's only so much gold in existence, and sure, you can take more out of the ground, but the more time passes, the harder and more expensive it is to find and mine gold. The same way, the value of cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin lies in the fact that they're desirable and limited in quantity. Bitcoins are desirable because they facilitate transactions without middlemen, such as banks or PayPal, and there are lots of people willing to accept them. Other cryptocurrencies such as Litecoin are less widely used for transactions, therefore less desirable. Cryptocurrencies are limited in quantity because there's usually a cap on how many can be mined. For Bitcoin, it's 21 million. It varies from cryptocurrency to cryptocurrency. Cryptography is used to secure transactions and create new coins, which are given as rewards to people who solve complex math problems. Simply put, people invest processing power and electricity to receive coins, and just like with gold, mining gets harder and harder as time passes. As a short recap, 2 things make cryptocurrencies valuable: desirability and their limited quantity. Bitcoin is currently the leader, the gold of the cryptocurrency world, whereas other currencies are runners-up, like silver or copper.
Now is the time for blockchain solutions to come into the forefront, because the realization has been made that this old technology that was born out of 1920s and 1930s cryptography has tremendous applications in our current business environment. And it's been widely popularized by Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency space, but that fundamental realization of the underlying technology which allows participants to share data confidently and not have to maintain their separate fragmented data stores has been a blocker to stripping out of inefficiencies from the business environment, and in particular from the capital markets ecosystem.
Conclusion we came to was, even though the technology actually was genius, it was very unlikely that Bitcoin, in our view, would succeed as anything beyond the usage of a few enthusiasts, simply because it was hard for us to imagine central banks and the regulatory bodies and actually society itself giving up control of its economic methodology of transferring value.
The world is changing fast, and the stakes are high. The next generation has a new paradigm for banking, and it doesn't involve Wall Street. What if we could replace the entire credit card industry with an app? There is finally an app for that. Introducing Credible Friends. Our mobile wallet enables anyone, anywhere, to extend lines of credit to people they trust. Let's say you want to give your friend Mary a $50 line of credit. To get started, download our wallet and add some Bitcoin. Now tap on Import Contacts and find Mary's name on the list. Drag the slider to $50 and click Save Credit Limit. Wasn't that easy? Mary can download the app and use it like a virtual Bitcoin credit card, or she can get our Visa card and head down to the mall. When Mary spends money, you'll see it come out of your wallet. And every month, when Mary pays her minimum payment, you earn some interest. At Credible Friends, we're building the world's first peer-to-peer credit card. We're enabling a new type of social lending that was never before possible. Credible Friends. Trust-based peer-to-peer lending.
What's about to happen in Bitcoin world that's got everyone so intrigued and that possibly could be contributing to this recent surge?
So the level of issuance of Bitcoin was determined by the software in 2009 to be at a decreasing rate over the subsequent 100 or so years. And so if you think about today, 3,600 Bitcoin are issued every day. As of next month, it'll be more like 1,800 a day. So the fact that there's going to be less issuance every day also means less supply is going to hit the market every day, and that'll possibly have a positive effect on the price of Bitcoin.
So people have known about this schedule forever. So how much of the recent surge, I mean, it's really taken off in the last few weeks, would you attribute to this, and how much is other stuff, and what might that other stuff be?
I actually think this is a relatively small part, because if you think about the impact on supply, it's less than 10% of the daily supply of Bitcoin comes from the actual issuance. And so the other factors like capital flight from China, speculation in China, people seeing Bitcoin as an alternative to gold, as a stable, safe haven asset, I'd say those are impacting the price of Bitcoin even more. But this is helping with this current cycle of hype.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Everything is all over the place. And so, you know, you hear a lot about real estate technology right now, but they're still not solving the fundamental problem, which is having the transaction process on one platform using one medium, okay? So that's a big problem. So now what Bitcoin and the blockchain does is providing one platform for everything to do with real estate. Now, this isn't going to happen overnight, but in the next year, 5 years, it's all going to move on to the blockchain. So what am I talking about? Let's start with something very simple. Records, information. Who owns a property? What was the last assessed value on it? Okay, that's all done pretty much down at the county right now, right? And title insurance companies. All that information can be put on the blockchain. Okay, what about paying for a property? Well, that's done through banks usually, right? Cryptocurrencies, you can pay for a property. Cryptocurrency is on a blockchain. What about escrow? Where's escrow done? Escrow is done with escrow companies or sometimes attorneys, right? And through banks. With blockchain, you can do a blockchain escrow, okay?
Would you look, just look, at the Bitcoin flowing into China versus anywhere else really, but of course the two most powerful users, if you will, of Bitcoin, China, the US now, US for a long time. But just look at this. And as you can tell, the little tiny ones just mean a small amount of Bitcoin. A big one like this means it looks like 45 Bitcoin, or no, 4.5, 3.9 Bitcoin. I mean, these little smaller transactions, partial Bitcoins, if you will. But just look at the steady flow into China. This is insane. Oh, what do we got here? We got an oddball. Follow the oddball. Where's it going? North Africa. What the? So
difficult as it was for me, I have come to an inescapable and profoundly disturbing conclusion. I believe that an elite group of people and the corporations they run have gained control over not just our energy, food supply, education, and health care, but over virtually every aspect of our lives. And they do it by controlling the world of finance, not by creating more value, but by actually controlling the source of money. When I followed the money, I found that it took me up the levels of a pyramid. Here we are at the bottom level going about our daily lives. Above us is government, people who are given a monopoly on force and use it to tax and control us whether or not we agree. But who controls them? At the next level are the corporations. Many would say that it is now corporations and not nation states that rule the world. They call it a corporatocracy. To acquire the world's resources and control the markets, this corporatocracy must have access to cheap money. The big corporations get their loans at special rates from the big banks, which means that those who control the major banks, the moneyed elite, ultimately control the corporations. As I've followed the money, I've learned that almost everything I once believed about money is simply not true.
So what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a revolutionary technology that enables a new way to send payments over the internet. You can think of it as an open accounting system where thousands of computers all over the world work together to track ownership of digital tokens called bitcoins. When you send someone bitcoins, the transaction is broadcast to the entire network. After it's verified, it's recorded in a public ledger called the blockchain. The blockchain contains a record of every Bitcoin transaction that has occurred since the system began, and it's shared and maintained on the network, so everyone keeps the books, so to speak. Most currencies are issued by a central authority that controls the money supply. Bitcoin is a peer-to-peer system, so there is no central authority. Instead, Bitcoins are issued to users who help process transactions in the network. This is known as Bitcoin mining. Bitcoin miners are specialized computers that do the work required to verify and record transactions in the blockchain. As a reward for their work, the miners earn Bitcoins, and this is how new Bitcoins are released into circulation. The system is programmed so that only 21 million Bitcoins will ever exist, and as time goes by, the mining reward decreases. The result is a predictable supply that's governed by scarcity, making Bitcoin somewhat like a digital gold. It's the first currency of the internet, and everyone is free to use it. With Bitcoin, you can send any amount of money to anyone, anywhere in the world, as easily as sending an email.